21 days. The word itself really means 40 days. If you look it up. Okay?
Yeah.
So what they're doing now, they're doing what they did, 500 years ago, or more, beyond 500 years ago. We're talking about the mid 1300s to 1400s to 1500s, and you have a history of plagues, pestilence. All right, Google that, history of plagues and pestilence, and see what you come up with. Now I'm gonna read the scripture right here, and then we're gonna get into our main topic. This is 2 Ezra 15, and I'm going to start at the 17th verse. It said, a man shall desire to go into a city, and there's another tab that you haven't read on how this one man died of a particular plague or sickness in China, and they quarantined the whole entire city, But he'll be reading in a little while. It said, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Because from this epidemic, an epidemic means over the people, all right? Now, if it becomes a pandemic actually means pretty much the whole planet is under this plague, or the majority of the planet is under this plague. And that's when people lose it. That's when you have food shortages. That's when people go crazy, man. And a whole lot of things are going to come of that. It says, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. The modern day sword is a gun. And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. All right? And for the great tribulation. So this is just a small sample of what the tribulation is going to be like. Like we said, these other groups, and we at GMS, we've been saying this since 2007 when we first came on, before 2007. But I'm saying since we came on YouTube, we've been going into the concentration camps, the mark of the beast, the end of the world, and these guys would laugh at us. So now they're changing their tune, their mindset, so to speak. All right. It says a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Because when you run out of food, you're gonna go to your next door neighbor and see if he got anything that you can use or you can eat. And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, food, and for great tribulation. Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth, the leaders, to revenge me, which are from the rising of the sun, the east, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. All right? 21. It said, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen. The chosen is talking about the elect of Israel. The Most High is not concerned about all of Israel. The Most High, that's why he keeps saying the chosen. I mean, overall it's talking about Israel because that's his chosen people, but there's a chosen within the chosen. There's an elect within the elect. All right, and we hope to be part of that elect. So will, that's why we're diligent. So will I do also and recompense in their bosom. So payback is coming. Payback is coming to this devil, man. Thus saith the Lord power. That's all I'm going to read on that. But, you can read this whole chapter and then follow it up with the 16th chapter. And basically that's talking about the great tribulation pursuant to Daniel the 12th chapter. Jeremiah, I believe that's 30 and 7, if I'm not mistaken. Jacob's trouble and so forth.
Yeah. I looked up history of the plagues that came upon the planet Earth, and this is a site entitled Top 10 Worst Plagues in History, January 18th, 2009. And then they list the name of those plagues, like the Moscow Plague and Riot, 1771. And they had the Great Plague of Marseille, 1720 to 1722. But they also have the plagues of that hit America, the American plagues during the 16th century. This is when the so-called white man came over here to the Americas and brought plagues with him. So that's also mentioned too. So basically, on the planet Earth, ever since Adam came on the planet Earth, from now until then, there's been many plagues that's come upon the planet Earth. So, we're here's the next article is entitled CDC could quarantine U.S. citizens for weeks if they refuse Ebola screenings. It says U.S. citizens who refuse to undergo the new screenings for Ebola at 5 major American airports could find themselves held in quarantine for up to 3 weeks, officials told Yahoo News on Thursday. Non-citizens who refused the screenings could be quarantined or turned away from U.S. soil by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The Obama administration announced on Wednesday that it would soon require passengers from Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, the countries at the epicenter of the deadly outbreak in West Africa, to answer questions about their potential exposure to the illness and to have their temperature taken upon arrival. Officials unveiled the new rules hours after the only patient thus far diagnosed with Ebola on the U.S. soil, Thomas Eric Duncan, died of the illness. Neighbors said he helped a pregnant woman in Liberia get to a hospital where she was turned away from a crowded Ebola treatment ward. All right, so basically, you've been hearing about that guy who recently died from the illness, who came from Liberia. So because of that, now that disease is so feared that they, you have people being quarantined that come from these countries. All right, so again, they're building the Ebola scare here in the United States, and that's going to affect you Israelites. You sitting back and you eating popcorn and watching it like it's some kind of movie. It's going to affect you, man. It's going to hit home very soon. You're going to be a part of that movie. And all what we've been telling you, it's going to come to mind. When you see the detentions, a quarantine center is nothing but a detention. It's just another form of detention. All right? And then when they have the forced vaccination, which the vaccination is actually what contains the killing agent, you and your children and your wives are going to have to, if you don't believe, you don't have faith, you're going to go and take that vaccine. All right, because a lot of you are going to just bow down to the will of the so-called white man anyway. All right, because you don't have no faith. All right, but the last article is entitled, "In China, a single plague death means an entire city quarantined." All right, and then you heard Apostle Elatar read about the scripture in 2nd Esdras, where it says one will desire to go into a city and will not be able to. What scenario will bring that? Well, if the city is quarantined, if you have a few of the members of the city dying from Ebola, you won't be able to go into that city. You'll have the military quarantine that city. You'll have those funny uniforms with the mask over them, like you see in the movies Outbreak and the different kind of movies. Yep. That's what we're heading to, It says here, tens of thousands of people were trapped in Yemen when officials swiftly locked down the city after a man died of plague. And this is in China, but this is coming here to America. Okay? This is coming here to America, all right? In the book 2nd Esdras, that's why the Apostle Elatar read 2nd Esdras. And you notice all these other groups, these other Israelite groups, they playing games, man. They don't even go into like Nate. They don't even go into.
He's going into it now.
Yeah, he's going
'cause the
into
nigga
now.
got shook up. Watch, he gonna
Yeah.
start. He gonna start mentioning the name of the Most High and His Son
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah.
And stop using Jesus Christ.
Now I watch a video he did about the Ebola, and he just, the way he brought it out was like, like it's a game, but he didn't see he didn't really bring out the gravity of it. He talked about how he talked about how a so-called white man and so-called white woman was healed, but the blacks in Africa weren't healed. First of all, the blacks